Next up is Francis Irving, so if you want to come on down. Now, I've heard a rumour, don't quote me on this, but there might be a general election this year. Right. Francis is going to talk about the Democracy Club.
Wandering around? I've been wandering around. It's not bad. Yeah, I was wandering around. Parliament. So, what do you think the most important thing a member of Parliament does? It shouts them out. You've only got 10 seconds.
Point wages, expenses.
Make more laws.
Most carpet.
Good guess is not quite. It's actually voting in a division lobby where they all split up around the house and they choose the laws that affect you. And we know this is true because we made a website called TheyWorkForYou, which helps you track how your MP behaves and what they're doing years and years ago. And one of the most important things is TheyWorkForYou. 15 seconds is really relaxed. So this is TheyWorkForYou. You can go to it, type in your postcode, find out who your MP is, get information about whoever it is. In particular, how they voted on key issues such as the Iraq War, terrorism laws, student top-up fees, whatever. And this upsets MPs. We've had maybe 5 to 6 to 10 MPs write to us because we represented their voting record too accurately. This is someone on the blog, Mr. Hammond, Stephen Hammond, who we said was strongly against a transparent Parliament because he voted against the legislation to make Parliament more secretive. And he writes this long rant saying it's not the case. Unfortunately, we know from our analysis, from looking at it, that it really is the case because we picked out a filibuster division that people don't usually talk about, where he voted in a way that would make Parliament less transparent. And people on his blog were telling him this, and they were coming back again going, he's on the website, and they mentioned it, and he did vote against transparent Parliament. So really upset him because we told the truth in a clear way. So that's voting. But obviously, in an election, you have candidates who aren't MPs yet, particularly this election. For some reason, lots of them aren't standing again. Maybe to do with the expenses. So we're going to ask questions about issues to candidates instead with a survey, including local issues. So these are issues in Liverpool, and we need help finding the issues to ask in Liverpool. We'll send a survey to all the candidates all over the country with issues local to their place in the country. And then we will turn that into a quiz where you can find out what the candidate said, what your ex-MP said, and just help decide who to vote for. And it'll be on the record, this is the quiz we did in the 2005 election. And then it'll be on the record forever, so you can go and track what this politician did later on, and it'll be a piece of information about what they said they were going to do about particular issues. And we can do this, a magic finding all these things all over the country, using Democracy Club, which has got 3,000 members now in every constituency, nearly, apart from about 9 of them, I think. So go to democracyclub.org.uk, just Google the Democracy Club and sign up, and then you can help the Democracy Club work. The other thing that is happening is election leaflets. This is where most election leaflets end up, the things you get through the door, sort of telling you about local parties. They don't really last very long. And that's because their purpose is partly to make it look like there's activity, and partly sort of almost confuse you by giving information like misleading when you quickly glance at them. The Straight Choice is an election leaflet monitoring project, and I'll give an example of where this works. It's a bit like kind of YouTube for election leaflets. You take a photograph of the election leaflet, upload it, and then it's shared across the world. You can track feeds, you can find out where there are election leaflets. This was a blogger who found a BNP election leaflet on the site, ran the photos in it of these are people, normal British people voting for the BNP. He ran the photos through a reverse image search thing called TinEye and found they came from a stock photo library called iStock Photo, and that they weren't really photos of people. In fact, they were foreign actors, the Italian who said that they were British, and it then got picked up. So from the Straight Choice, it went to a blog, and then it got picked up, eventually telegraphed them a week later by the Mail, and became a proper story. That will happen again and again. There are things, scandals in every election leaflet. There are also just small things that are wrong with the importance of electoral laws. And we want to find them all. We want to track what they're doing. Because what really matters in an election campaign is on the ground. It's not about any sort of votes, airy-fairy thing. It's very, can you get your vote out is what matters. So we also need help people to keep hold of any election leaflets you get. They're not you can do better than throw them away. You can get one up on the parties by photographing and scanning them and uploading them to thestraightchoice.org, which is actually named after a famous election leaflet in the Bermondsey by-election where Peter Tatchell was called the Straight Choice in the early 80s. So the Democracy Club will also tell you about the Straight Choice as well. So if you sign up to the Democracy Club, you'll get told about all these things you can do as an individual in your local area to help make the election that bit more transparent, and then in the long term improve politics using the power of information and news that we have now. Thank you.